Hello. This is actually a really important video. I really never say it. I highly suggest you watch, and I seriously suggest you think about it afterwards. Um, with all that's going on in the world, people have actually gotten a whole lot stranger and infinitely less reliable and more wishy-washy than they've ever been before. So if you ever needed to know and think about this, now would certainly be the time. By the way, I have zero respect for psychology and those that are in it. Something recently extremely tragic happened, and I can't go over it because it was so tragic. And the guy's dad is like a clinical psychologist. Like, why is it everybody that's like in that profession, their children are like, not everybody, but a lot of them are just really, really, really bad and or extremely messed up. Yeah, what happened was completely tragic. Gonna go on to four different types of people, but talk about a couple modalities. I recently encountered another person that I've met a few times. Extremely evil. I'm not saying they're like sitting on the right hand of Lucifer, but pretty close. This is what happens. There's two different types of evil. One's a lesser evil. Someone that is both unwise and unintelligent. And what they're capable of is not super drastic, but it is nevertheless the circumferential tragedy that can fall out around them is enough that could really wake you up. When I first met this person, I thought, wow, this person is evil. They're both unwise and unintelligent. Just took the Band-Aid off where I deeply cut my finger there. Wanted to go over different types of people and a couple really important life lessons, and I drastically, very much so wish that this was actually taught to me when I was younger, something to think about. Obviously, when you get old enough, you're like, well, I wished I learned about that, I wished I learned about this. Kind of self-taught on this, and I've always been able to see through people. Definitely too nice. I've definitely got a fault on that front. But I want to talk about four classes of people and 3, 4, and 5 modalities that actually fall on people and who they are and stuff that you can actually see through. Because basically 100% of everybody in this world wastes time connected with, either in relationship with or dealing with. I always do an in run around people that are roadblocks and useless and essentially like the human version of speed bumps. You ever want to pull up on multiple speed bumps and you can see over there there's no speed bump and you kind of swerve out of the way to avoid the speed bumps. You don't have to slow down. Of course, all the speed bumps, if you even hit them at 2 miles an hour, they'll kind of like rattle your car loose a little bit. It's never good for your car. So there are people in life that are essentially the human equivalents of speed bumps. These are the four classes of people. You can say this is an oversimplification, but it's really not. Nearly 100% of everybody falls into these four. Number one, unintelligent and unwise. These are people that unfortunately are the most base. They have the greatest similarity to four-legged critters. They're just very base. Their will is completely reactive, kind of like an animal. Everybody talks about free will, and talking about free will is incredibly ignorant. Free will is only potential, not actual. An acorn and an oak tree are genetically identical, but you can't get any lumber out of an acorn. You can't have an oak tree because it's actually brought to fruition. In the case of an animal, its will is one of complete and total lack of impulse control. Like if you, not that I'm saying you should do this, if you came up behind a pooch, and your boot made contact with its buttocks, say accidentally. I mean, it won't even have a single thought in its head before it swings around as fast as its nervous system can carry it and start chewing on your leg, kind of like it was a T-bone, like a hungry person on a T-bone. Unintelligent person that is unwise. Unfortunately, There is no aspect of humanity today in high school or college or postdoctorate degree that ever discusses the distinction between episteme and gnosis, empirical knowledge and wisdom. There's a huge difference. Yeah, people praise intelligent people. It's like, well, you know, it's good that you're not praising stupidity, but intelligence is far, far, far less than even half the picture of somebody that is praiseworthy. So the unintelligent, unwise. This is a person that might be illiterate, might not know anything, but also, too, they don't follow natural order. They don't know how things work. They are, by definition, ignorant or unwise. They don't understand natura naturans, natural order, Mother Nature, how the world really works. Yeah, I've met a lot of really unintelligent people. And I love most of them. Some I think are my neighbor on my farm. You know, I think he's illiterate. He's a great farmer. He's a good person. He knows the way the world works. Knows the way the world works. He plants food. He listens to nature. I don't care that the guy's unintelligent. He has wisdom. He follows natural order. He follows, you know, how the world works. And I don't mean society and its laws and regulations. I mean how the universe actually works. Great guy. I've met plenty of people like him. Here is the most dangerous. This is the second stratification. Someone that is extremely intelligent. Yeah, I have a PhD. Someone like that. And they're unwise. The most evil people, the most dangerous people in society are not the unwise and ignorant who can cause, you know, collateral damage within a certain circumference. People that actually are the most dangerous, the ones that destroy societies, the ones who cannot see the forest for the trees, they don't follow natural order, extremely intelligent, a lot of empirical knowledge, they know how to maneuver and connive people, and they're manipulative, they're megalomaniacal, the list goes on and on and on. These pseudo-intellectuals, these know-nothings, all of the vast ignorance that we're actually seeing on these prestigious college campuses. You know, there's this radical insanity that's going on, especially in American campuses, really, really bad. I call them ignorant college pukes. I've been to a Mensa meeting once. I was invited there. It's like, oh, you know, let's see what the Mensa foot. These were easily the most reprehensible, awful people imaginable. It's like, well, I have an IQ of so-and-so. I love it when people say, what's your IQ? I've never been tested for an IQ. It's completely unimportant. IQ, by the way, doesn't test for anything important like spontaneous creativity, nonlinear spontaneous thought genesis, invention, intuitiveness, on and on. Everything that's actually important in this universe fundamentally can't be tested by an IQ test. Nobody ever either mentions that or knows that, apparently. But these are always the most dangerous people. The guy next door, you know, who had beings in his freezer, and, you know, just like, you know, the super evil. It's like, oh, he was just so smart. He seemed like such... No, he's extremely manipulative. He's highly intelligent and extremely unwise. These people almost literally sit on the right hand of Lucifer. These are people that you really, I mean, if an unintelligent, unwise person is a spiked hammer, these people are a thermonuclear device as far as the intelligent but unwise. Their penchant for mass destruction, the destruction of society, is only as limited as their ability to manipulate by means of their intelligence. You really got to be careful about intelligent yet unwise people. I was talking about this, one of my neighbors, the wise unintelligent. Like ascetics, they know nothing or little of the minutiae of the mechanics of society and their laws. They may or may not be illiterate. These people are moderately rare today. Moderately. It used to be a lot more common, but especially in the West. An example of this is Jakob Böhme. Jakob Böhme was basically, you know, a German country bumpkin who had a great spiritual awakening. He followed nature and he peered deeply into nature, and his copious writings, most of which I have, are absolutely enormous, very brilliant metaphysician, true metaphysician. Also, too, a sannyasins or an ascetic of India. This is the wise yet unintelligent. They shine by seat of their proximity to the transcendent and association with the transcendent, but they themselves are not ones of what the hoi polloi or the ignorant mini-folk would refer to as intelligentsia. He doesn't have a degree. Where'd you get your degree from? I got my degree from the same place as, well, I spent 6 years in college. Doesn't mean anything at all. You know, the same place Plato and Pythagoras got their degree, and Shakespeare, and it's like, anytime someone says something like that, you know how dumb they are. They're basically saying, I'm very dumb. I'm going to ask a very dumb question. Where'd you get your degree? This is an appeal to authority. In logical debates, there's no such thing as an authority. There's experts and novices. This is what happens when you start telling people there's no such thing as magnetic attraction, and light is not an emission, a wave particle, and, you know, it's like, you know, there's no such thing as an electron particle. Oh, you're crazy. Where's your PhD? You know, where'd you get your degree from? That's what the dumb people say. They're so predictable. I can debate these people with one hand tied behind my back, my eyes covered and half asleep. Here's the rarest individual on earth, and I do mean rare. That's someone that is both extremely intelligent and wise. If someone has enough wisdom and they gain enough intellect, they use that as a springboard for gaining understanding into natura naturans, or natural order. They follow natural order. They cling to truth over beliefs, and these are the most extremely rare people on earth. They're extremely rare to find someone both extremely intelligent or extremely wise. If someone's extremely intelligent, what they do is they fall into a trap. That's the biggest trap to fall into, is have a lot of empirical intelligence. They will have that, and they will let it be the destroyer of access to wisdom or true insight, i.e. natural order. That's very unfortunate. The third modality, which is unfortunate, of the next three, which I call 3, 4, and 5, is beliefs. Between intelligence and wisdom, beliefs, of course, is false self-worship. People actually build this false construct of themselves as Bob, Sue, Larry, or whatever the name is, and Bob, Sue, or Larry has certain beliefs. Well, I believe in so-and-so, and I've been following my whole life, and so did my grandfather, and I believe this, and I believe that, and they're not truth seekers. Anybody, and this, unfortunately, this is part of wisdom, is about most people, is that they cleave to these belief systems. And these belief systems are their destroyer, in such as the fact that they are not truth seekers as to natural order. They actually follow these things as that which they truly are and as ultimate truth, and it is not ultimate truth. A truth seeker, by definition, and you need to think about this, is someone that if they're proven right through debate, and most Westerners have no clue what actual debate is, they're proven right, they know they're on the right path. If they're open up to their own convictions or beliefs, you take your pick, they're both references to the same thing, being destroyed. If that gets destroyed through logic, facts, and rationality and wisdom, then they've been corrected. It's like, well, I was heading in the wrong direction, but now I've been corrected, and now I'm headed in the right direction. So if you're proven right, you're on the right path. If you're proven wrong, then you're also, too, afterwards, on the right path. And this is incredibly important. And people, 99.9% of the world's strife, it's an exaggeration, is due to belief systems. And people are attached to them, and they destroy everybody, and they destroy the lives of those around them. Like I said, I was recently in close proximity to an evil person, you know, who's both unintelligent and unwise. And not only that, but completely full of their own belief systems. Let me text this person to stop texting me. There's a couple people that keep texting. When people think, I don't know what people think, but some people actually text me all through the night, questions, and want to call me, and this and that, and sometimes I feel like I got to turn my phone off because I'm just perpetually being bombarded with texts. I can ignore that, though. This particular one person loves to text the living snot out of me, and there are people like that. And as a fault of mine is that I'm way too nice. There's no such thing as truth by consensus. When someone is talking about, like, where's your PhD? And of course, a PhD, which stands for piled high deeper, it means, you know, who's the group of people behind you that are agreeing with your nonsense and your nonsense agrees with their nonsense? And peer reviews, like, who peer reviewed your paper? That's another great one. Peer review, PhD, and consensus are all the same thing. These are a bunch of dogs that are in a circle, excuse me. This dog is sniffing this dog's dirty sphincter, and that dog is sniffing that dog's dirty donut, and that dog is sniffing that dog's dirty donut. And it just, that's what a peer review is. That's what consensus is. Where'd you get your degree from? Oh, I got my degree from the same place Pythagoras and Plato and Plotinus and Eminius and Citianus and Demay. I got my degree from the tree of knowledge between good and evil and wisdom and transcendence. Yeah, that's my source waters there. Rationality, logic, and wisdom. It's that particular degree, which never fails and it doesn't cost anything. And if you really want it and you really go after it, you'll always get it. So consensus makers, this is the second modality of a fallacy, or technically the fourth, someone that makes consensus. The fifth, of course, is very unfortunate. We see a lot of that in the world today. These are people that actually are worshippers of evil. This evil, of course, is envy, greed, lust, attachments, the destruction of self and others, the hatred of what is beautiful. These people, kind of like the person I recently met again for like the fourth time, truly an evil person, they dig holes out from under other people. They don't have either wisdom or intellect. But the only way they can, by relationship, raise themselves up, either in their own eyes or the eyes of others, is to dig holes out from under other people. They love to destroy what is true and pure and beautiful. They are, within and without, ugly individuals. I mean, they will manifest themselves from without as they are from within. And these people are very unfortunate. They should be avoided like the plague. There's an old saying about children should be seen but not heard. It's the same thing with these evil people. You just dodge them like a speed bump. You should shun them. You reject them and shun them. By the way, I had this notion. There's a guy, I don't want to say his name, he's in Nepal. People flocked all the way from Nepal and India, even from the United States. He would sit as an ascetic underneath the tree, and they say, well, he wouldn't eat or drink anything for days or weeks at a time, and they called him the little Buddha. I don't want to say the guy's name. Well, whatever happened to that guy? I knew he was a scam artist from day one. It's just a total scam. People would throw money at him. They put a fence around him so you couldn't get near him and touch him. Like, oh, look, there's the new. Well, he's been arrested for doing really, really, really horrible things that I can't actually tell you. He had amassed like 6 million equivalent dollars, and he had iPhones and iPads, and his followers, he did horrific things to his followers. I don't dare say what it is. Like, oh, that's what happened to that guy. I knew he was a scam artist. But all these other people, when I pointed out many, many, many years ago, like a decade ago, like, this guy's a scam. Oh, how dare you, look at him. He's sitting so quietly underneath that tree. He doesn't move. He's in deep contemplation. Yeah, sure he is. Okay, sure he is. Well, once again, for the upteenth time, I've been proven correct. Yeah, he's been arrested. Yeah, heinous deeds have followed this person. Never put any psychophysical being on a pedestal. It's always a really, really bad idea. There's a saying from, and I'm getting on to the last aspect here, of soldiers and Navy SEALs. I don't know who came up with it first. It's very accurate, but also, too, very, very incomplete. They would talk about 3 people in the world. Sheep, that would be the people, of course. Bah, sheep. Wolves, that would be the people that prey on the sheep. And then the sheepdog, who's the savior of the sheep, the protectorate. Well, that's an incomplete picture. The fourth person that this soldier's motto doesn't mention is the farmer. The farmer is the most evil. He ends up culling the sheep, and eating the sheep, and selling the sheep, for food. Um, so he ends the sheep, and then he ends the wolves by means of his little brown shirts. Little brown shirts, his little minions, his little sock puppet, of course, is his sheepdog. His doggies. And of course, through traps and his pew-pew tools, pew, 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 pew. So the most evil person, that's many countless soldiers, Navy SEALs, Special Forces, talked about 3 people in the world: sheep, wolves, and sheepdogs. You left out the farmer. The farmer would be like the GOVT. Well, the sheepdog will, of course, save the sheep from the wolves. The sheepdog will also, too, round up those same sheep at the farmer's command to head to the chop shop. Bah! So the sheep are kind of like the brown shirts. These are the useful idiota. You heard that old saying? The useful idiota. These are the people that are the right arm of evil. These are the people that will hold you down while someone else, injects you with the magic juice. There's the evil person up here, and then there's the evil person injecting the magic juice, for example. The other evil people are the sheepdog, the minions, like that cartoon, the Minions. These are the people that will hold you down while someone else, that's like the sheepdog. The farmer has one thing, the sheep, and think about that. The farmer has one thing, the sheep, the sheepdogs and the wolves don't have, and that is land. Land. Nobody should obey evil. I see so many people that obey and are brown shirts and are useful idiota to evil. Nobody should heed the unwise, ever, ever, ever. Shun evil, reject it, shun those that embrace it. Shun those that are the useful right arm of destruction and evil. And there are way, and I've seen countless examples of it. Countless examples of it where people will kowtow to evil. There's a guy I've known most of my life, and I was battling a pack of unintelligent fools. And instead of this guy who's known me my whole life, he just shrunk like a wilting lily. I despise that. I can't stand people that have jello spines made out of jello. People need to speak up and put it down, because evil fundamentally is always a bunch of cowards. They always are. And since evil is a bunch of cowards, what does that say about the people that bend their will to evil? It says a lot. It's like they're even worse than the cowards who are expressing this evil. They're cowards. This world, and 99% of the reason for its current downfall into Dante's Inferno is because everybody is way worse of a coward than the cowards themselves. This is extremely unfortunate. People ask me endless times if there's a solution for the evil people that are pretending to, watch over us. The Pythagoreans had that answer. The answer is really simple. They talked about it in Plato's Republic, but it's far more ancient than Plato. You'd actually have a small group of wisdom masters that would elect somebody who didn't want the job. I don't want the job, to serve for a period of time. The guy didn't want it. He didn't want the job, but people with wisdom actually elected to him. If it were up to me, and of course it's not, and this would solve 95% of the problems. You'd actually have to show up, by the way, unless you were like a disabled soldier. You had to show up. Present ID, and you'd get they do in many countries, you dip your finger in this blue or purple ink that wouldn't wash off for like a week to prove that, you cast your ballot and you couldn't do it again. And, or you put a stamp on the back of your hand, same thing. Nobody under the age of 40 would be allowed to cast a vote when people's rationality had matured, not college pukes. No college pukes should ever be allowed to cast, put a check mark that's next to somebody's name. No college puke. No, 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 no. So I have to be over 40. Nobody that had not served in the military for at least 4 years. Or if you didn't serve in the military for 4 years, you'd have to be a farmer. So if you had no military service, that would actually solve 95% of the problems overnight. These people would elect wisdom masters, and the wisdom masters of wisdom could only serve for X period of time. If they kept getting re-elected and they're really wise and proved to be neutral and they cared about facts, rationality, and wisdom, you know, they could be elected nearly indefinitely. But they themselves would elect somebody who didn't want the job. It's like, for the betterment of society, you got to do it. You'll be rational and logical, and that would solve a lot of the problems. Nobody under 40, no college pukes would be allowed. Unless you you had to serve 4 years honorably in the military, that would solve that problem. Like a third option would be if you were like 60 years or older, and you didn't serve in the military and you were not a farmer. Then you could put a check mark next to somebody's name and cast, you know, throw your piece of paper in the hat to determine. That would really solve it. That would solve it. So if you weren't a farmer and you didn't serve in the military, or you were a college puke or somebody underneath the age of 40 years old, you couldn't do it. You couldn't do it. That'd solve it. You also, too, unless you're a disabled soldier, you know, who can't wheel his wheelchair down to, you know, put your check mark on it. Everybody else, which is basically 90.999% of everybody, you'd have to show up in person, present multiple IDs, and you have to dip your finger in the permanent blue ink, which, you know, like a permanent, a temporary tattoo, you know, which lasts like a week or something like that. The ink won't come off. And it also, too, be mandatory. So if you're over 40, that would actually solve everything. I've been asked that question many, many times, and that would solve it. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to contact me, my information in the description below. Also, too, a donation link if you ever like these videos. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. By the way, I cut my hand last night. There was something sticking out of my floor, and I accidentally embedded into my foot, and I still like, whoa, and I ran my hand across the floor. You see, I didn't think there was anything there, and obviously there was something there, and that's why I cut my hand pretty bad. Yeah, or nothing like it. Thanks for watching.